Good evening. We're back with more Marvel Champions, continuing the Doctor Strange Spotlight, Hero Spotlight using the Dive Bomb deck. And this evening will be Doctor Strange versus Venom Goblin on Expert difficulty. Of the three difficult villains, the three most difficult villains in the game, this is probably the one that I struggled the most against with Doctor Strange. I think it took 2 or 3 attempts, whereas the others were done on the first attempt. Doctor Strange is definitely an S plus tier hero, and I do think that this Dive Bomb deck, or some variation of it, is the strongest version of Doctor Strange. So we're going to cycle the 7 Rings of Ragador there in the alter ego form, and we get to Winds of Watum, which is great. So we can flip to alter ego and use Master of the Mystic Arts to draw 3. Got Sorcerer Supreme in opening hand, that's great. And we'll use Doctor Strange here to play the Winds of Watum and draw another 3. Vapors of Valtor is on top, and if I did have the Cloak of Levitation, I would have a use for Vapors, but I don't. So we'll draw 3 with Nick Fury. We'll cycle with Spiritual Meditations. We're trying to find the cloak, but no luck. We got a lot of options for what we can do now. So I'm going to play Sunfire. Sorcerer Supreme. And then I got 4 resources. I could play Avengers Mansion as well, which is what I'm going to do. So pretty strong start. We parlayed the big Winds of Watum turn into future resources, which is what you want to do with this deck ideally. I don't know why I chose not to attack with Sunfire there. So the Enraged Symbiote is going to enter play. And we'll activate Upper Manhattan, and which means a discard after Venom Goblin attacks. And then we got 3 encounter cards to deal with. Should have an attack by the Enraged Symbiote as well for 2. Master Plan, that means finding a side quest, or we could use Protective Ward to cancel, which is what I'm going to do. Unstable Sentience gives a boost card and surges into an advance, which is going to be a scheme. Resolve the special ability of the scheme with the glider counter, that's going to be discard a card. And then Venom Goblin schemes for 2, and then that's going to mean discarding another card. Oh no, we move after the scheme. Midtown Manhattan is the quest with the lowest scheme, and then so we take 2 damage. And a second attack, which is going to go on Sunfire. I still don't know why I didn't attack with him initially. Seems like a waste. It's possible I had a reason, or it's possible I just forgot. Anyway, onto the hero turn. That was a pretty rough turn for us, and a pretty good turn for the villain. We're going to use Vapors of Valtor and move the toughness to the a stun. He's got steady, so I think I just failed to put the stun on him. I should have, but I didn't. It could be relevant later, but who knows. I really just wanted to cycle the Vapors of Valtor, though. Gonna have to switch to alter ego here, or we're gonna die. And I actually played Sanctum Sanctorum. That almost never happens. So the villain's going to scheme for 4. Then we move the counter to Lower Manhattan and add 1 threat to every side scheme. 1 from the Enraged Symbiote, and we got an encounter card, which is Symbiotic Thrall. So pretty disastrous opening for us. But we've got some things going for us too. The Sorcerer Supreme, Avengers Mansion, the Eye of Agamotto. These are good cards for the future. And we're doing a little cycling here. Got 2 guard allies in the way, so I'm cycling looking for honed aggression. Because I was thinking I got a lot of resources. If I could get honed aggression out, I may be able to dive bomb and clear these minions. So I'm going to shuffle a spell card in with Sanctum Sanctorum and then draw a card. And I drew the card I shuffled in. Play Spider Girl and stun and confuse one of the minions. We'll flip. Play Quinn Carrier. Quinn Carrier and Eye of Agamotto for Ironheart and draw a card. Cloak of Levitation, which I can't play. I can thwart for a bit. Alright, and we cycle the deck, so that's going to be an extra encounter card. Got an attack on Ironheart, and then we'll move the glider counter to Upper Manhattan and discard a card. Got Hone Technique now. And we've got Avengers Mansion, Sorcerer Supreme, Eye of Agamotto, Quinn Carrier. So even though we haven't made any progress on the villain yet, and all of the main schemes are kind of in trouble threat-wise, and we got Advanced Glider out, I'm still in okay shape. Start out by drawing a card. I wish I had Sunfire to deal with that Advanced Glider. A Dive Bomb can do it as well. I'm going to play get Honed Technique out. Use Spiritual Meditation. There's a Dive Bomb, so I can deal with the Advanced Glider. Thwart for 2. Play Cloak. Thwart for another 2. And I should use the Dive Bomb to get rid of Advanced Glider. Discard any number of attack cards, and if they total 3, you can get rid of the glider. I have no idea why I wouldn't do that. There we go. And we'll flip to Alter Ego. Draw 6. So, the villain's gonna scheme for 3. And then we gotta discard a card. And then we got to scheme from one of the thralls and the other one's confused, so we remove that. And then an encounter card, which is Symbiotic Berserker. And now I want to find another Dive Bomb. A single Dive Bomb will take care of all of those minions. So we'll draw for it with Nick Fury. There it is. So we'll flip back to Hero. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. And Dive Bomb. It's going to be 11 to an enemy and then 5 to all the other enemies. It's going to clear the board and deal 5 damage to the Venom Goblin. And now we can start cleaning up the threat on the main schemes. we're going to get a stun on the villain. So that should be the second stun. I forgot to place one earlier when I Vapors of Valtord. So he should be stunned. I don't think I play it that way, but maybe I did. No, I didn't account for the one earlier that I forgot. That's alright. It's a mistake in favor of the villain. Second attack is the encounter card. I'm just going to cancel that with Protective Ward. And we're on to the hero phase. So we'll cycle. Be looking for another dive bomb most likely. There it is. Draw 2, discard 1. Got a Magic Blast as well. So I could be thinking about an OTK on stage 3. Gonna thwart. I'm not sure why I wouldn't use Images of Icon there. I'm gonna dive bomb. No, now I reconsider. Played Brawn instead. No, reconsider again. Okay, it will be Brawn. No. It will be Brawn. And we'll draw 3. I don't know why I wouldn't use Images of Icon there with the Queen Carrier in one of my actions. Probably just a mistake. Discard Spiritual Meditation for the glider action, and then we got Violent Tendencies. Not a very threatening card. So we get out Wolverine. Push Venom Goblin into stage 3, and that will deal him a boost card, get rid of the Violent Tendencies, and deal 3 face down encounter cards, and now we gotta deal with Retaliate. So we take the Retaliate damage, get rid of the toughness, remove 1 threat. We're going to play Dive Bomb here for 11 damage. And take 1 Retaliate. Did I remember the Retaliate? Not sure that I did. Well, as long as we survive this onslaught of counter cards, we're going to win with a dive bomb on the hero turn. So Brawn will block. Got to discard a card because of that boost card. And put an Enraged Symbiote into play. Then we got 5 encounter cards, and as long as we survive, we can end the game. So there's remote navigation that's going to bring the glider into play. So actually an attack now, an extra attack would probably kill us. Smoke bombs, symbiotic berserker, and joyride. So we actually don't get and attack, and we got to discard another card or take 2 damage or add a threat to the main scheme. And then we'll just use Wolverine to attack the symbiote, and then we'll dive bomb the villain. So it should be at 3 HP, not 4, but no problem. Still able to finish off the Venom Goblin there. So a pretty bumpy game overall. Venom Goblin's Doctor Strange's toughest challenge, at least with this deck. But we're able to get set up with the Hone technique, all the additional resources. Started out with a big Winds of Watum turn, which helps a lot. And then we dive bomb the Venom Goblin into submission. And I like this deck a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's very powerful. I know that a lot of players would argue that Doctor Strange is overpowered. But there are only 3 heroes so far that we've found that are capable of taking on all of the content on expert difficulty. You could argue each of them is overpowered. Well, at least Doctor Strange and Bring It Venom, or Bring It Vision. I don't know that people typically argue that Star-Lord is overpowered. But if these heroes didn't exist, I'm not certain that most players would be ever able to clear all of the content. We gotta have these really powerful champions, or else no one would ever be able to down Ronin on expert difficulty. And you could argue that these heroes shouldn't be this powerful, and also that some of these villains shouldn't be so difficult, and should be more in line with the difficulty of other villains, and I wouldn't argue with you there. But if those villains are going to exist, then we gotta have a way to beat them, right? And if you have a way to beat them, then it turns out that a hero that can beat those villains has a pretty easy time with any other villain in the game, because those villains are just so much harder than all the other villains. But you gotta have heroes that can beat them, or else why make the content? Anyway, Doctor Strange, definitely an S+ tier hero. And this is my favorite deck that I've found for him. It's very, very strong and a lot of fun to play. So, thank you for watching. Next up will be Ronin on expert difficulty.